What's up guys, so this is a response to the Mass Creatures video, why I'm a agnostic atheist. So I've personally recently dropped the agnostic part from my atheism, and I now feel confident enough to say that I know that no gods exist. Now, as much as I respect your position, I respectfully disagree with you on a number of issues. I'm afraid that some of this is just going to come down to semantics, but this is just my opinion on the matter, and I don't particularly wish for this to become a debate or a long discussion unless someone simply wants me to clarify my views. I'm beginning to find a level of pretentiousness in the idea that our self-labelling need to be literally 100% mathematically accurate, and think that we should use language which is more in keeping with everyday use. So, for example, if you were to tell me that Chuck Norris was your dad, I don't think I'd be considered irrational to say, bullshit, I know you're talking out your ass. I would be quite happy to take the position of saying, I know you're lying in that situation, especially when other evidence contradicts it as well. But of course this would be entirely unfalsifiable unless we went to the extent of taking a DNA test, and then there's still a 1 in 100 trillion etc. chance that you had a million mutations which completely falsified the DNA test, so it showed that there was no relation. In the same way, I don't think it's unreasonable of me to say that I know that gods don't exist. Now, of course, that still doesn't make me closed-minded. I'd still quite happily change my mind if the evidence was to present itself. I've been sure of things before, and then changed my mind when I've been shown to be wrong. And, of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to impose that my level of certainty onto other people. And, of course, we know with the Chuck Norris example, if the right evidence presented itself, yes, I'd be quite happy to say he was your father. Now, the level of certainty which some agnostic atheists demand is retarded in my opinion, and such a stance basically makes words such as knowledge and certainty completely redundant. You ask, what if there is a God which didn't create the universe and hadn't been described by religion or logic, etc.? Now yes, I fully accept that there's plenty in this universe which we cannot even begin to explain, but I would go as far as to say that there isn't anything which is deserving of the title God. We do need at least some form of definition for the word God, because otherwise it becomes so meaningless we may as well call this cigarette God. People are certainly free to disagree with my definition, but I think for something to be worthy of the title God, it must, at an absolute bare minimum, defy the laws of physics in some manner, be more powerful than any mortal organism, and demonstrate that it acts with some form of intelligence and will. I also say that dragons do not and have never existed, and I think that I'm perfectly reasonable in this. However, someone could change the definition of dragons to include komodos or dragons, making me as a non-believer and them as a believer both completely correct in their own right. You ask, what if there's a God which doesn't affect this universe but inhabits another universe? Well then, as far as I'm concerned, that God does not exist. When I say unicorns don't exist, I'm talking about here on Earth. I don't give a fuck if there's something which fits the description of a unicorn in a distant galaxy, and when I say that Bill Gates isn't an Olympic gymnast, it's absolutely irrelevant that if multiverse theory is correct, then it's a mathematical certainty that somewhere in the multiverse this is actually true. So, you make the appeal to the vastness of the universe, and you say how many humans would equal it. For the record, it's about 300 sextillion, but I digress. The universe is a finite size. We're pretty damn certain of this from all of the evidence of the Big Bang, and when it comes to the laws of physics and the laws of chemistry, every single observation we've made about stars and distant galaxies seems to back this up, and I see absolutely no reason to believe anything to the contrary. Now, the following clip should explain my stance on this. Now that was the Mandelbrot set. Put as simply as I can, it's the iterated function for the formula z equals z squared plus c, for which z never escapes to infinity when z initializes as 0, and c is a given pixel's location expressed as a complex number. It has a true level of infinite complexity, order and chaos, and I would even argue infinite beauty. Some even call it the most complicated shape in mathematics, yet it's 100% deterministic, and despite its level of emergent complexity, no matter how deep you go, no matter even if you zoom into levels which give me a headache just thinking about it, there's certain things which are simply impossible. It has, in a way, its own internal physics, as you could describe it. You could describe it that way. There's certain things you absolutely never see, such as a lower level of iteration within a higher level of iteration. So, and also, although it has an infinite level of complexity on the micro scale, on the macro scale, it is actually quite finite. And I do think that this is a perfect analogy for our universe. There's certain things which I can, in all confidence, say are completely impossible. I have the conviction to call myself a gnostic atheist. We don't know everything, but that doesn't mean we can't call bullshit when the stench is stinging our nostrils and it's sliding down our face, yet still be humble enough to retract our statements if ever proven to be demonstrably wrong. Thanks for watching, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Fuck, I need a better outro.